It's...
Hi, welcome to TopBeer. On today's show, we revisit a local brewery again, this time to review their Oktoberfest. We visit head brewer James at Founds Brewery to find out what the dwarves are making. Don't worry guys, starting Reese by Spa. This episode, we've got a professional footballer. Not known for his graceful social manner, the swig gets caught banging. We give you our views on the Birmingham Beer and Cider Festival 2015 and interview the people that make it happen. And finally, we'll be looking back at some of the pubs that used to be thriving with life and character, but are now sadly disappearing from our social communities. Some without a trace. Keeping up with tradition and not wanting to be left out of the festivities, the TopBeer crew went in search for a local Oktoberfest. Found ourselves here at the Green Duck Brewing Company. Oktoberfest was upon us again, and the TopBeer crew headed down to the Green Duck Brewery on the third and final day of their celebrations to join in the festivities. What is Oktoberfest, I hear you ask? Well, it's an autumn German festival that celebrates everything I enjoy for a start: beer, food and making merry. However, the original Oktoberfest began on October the 12th, 1810 with the marriage of Crown Prince Ludwig, who later became King Ludwig I. His marriage to Princess Therese von Sachsen-Hildburghausen was celebrated in Bavaria. On October the 17th, 5 days after the marriage, a large fest was held in front of the Sedlinger Tor, one of the gates leading to Munich. Included in the festivities were horse races that became an Oktoberfest custom lasting until 1938. In 1811, an agricultural fair was added, and by 1818 beer pubs were also included, along with performers, and the rest, they say, is history. Well, there were plenty of beer on offer as always at the Duck, with a variety of American and English IPA, Australian and English Pale Ale, Golden Ale, Dunkelweizen, English Bitter, American Porter, Irish Red Ale, Rye Beer, Stout and ciders. Once again, Alex, Louise and Daz made us feel welcome, along with a huge crowd of drinkers that filled the brewery over the course of the day. Food was supplied by Andy, who kept everyone sustained with his low and slow smoked barbecue specialties featuring Texas-style brisket, ribs, cheeks and pork. Live music on the night was performed by Effigy for Sleep, who incorporated our swig. As usual, there was an array of new drinks that were favoured by the crew as we made our way through the beers on offer. There were 10 beers in total that stood out for us, giving them taste buds that extra treat. As we were sampling these great beers, the swig managed to get himself around and about, mingling with the locals during the course of the evening. The place had a good mix of people and the atmosphere was great. It wasn't crowded, but it was full, with people smiling and drinking. It was noted again that the female attendance was high, with plenty of ale drinkers amongst them. There was more of a festival feel about this one, which is a credit to the staff and volunteers of the Green Duck. Keep up the good work, guys. Brilliant stuff. A combination of real ales, wars and epic tales. It's to be Founds Brewery.
We started commercially brewing about 3 years ago from the Jolly Crispin. I used to be a teacher, my brother did concert photography. We were drinking one night and sort of 6 pints in, we could do better than this. It's wet and not any body to it and no flavour. And then the next morning I phoned my brother. Last night we said we were going to open a dwarfen brewery, and he goes, we were very drunk. It doesn't matter. And so from then we just sort of bought some homebrew kit, started in my kitchen, got the premises registered with HMRC, as a brewery. Moved into the Jolly Crispin in October of 2012, and then we've been going at it ever since, gradually increasing the capacity of the brewery, upgrading the equipment. I think we lost count of the number of beers we created. We've got 4 core beers, which we've always done. We have 4 seasonal beers, 4 seasonal porters, half a dozen occasional beers. We did a best British hop beer every month for the last 2 years. That's 24 in itself. So yeah, quite a few. But every time we sort of use them as a learning opportunity. They inform sort of what comes after them, and try different techniques with different beers. So the aim is to eventually end up with a core brand of beers that are all as good as they're going to get based on the experimentation that's been done through special beers. Getting off the ground wasn't that challenging. Carrying on going it's a very it's tricky keeping the whole thing going because we're so small. We exclusively deal with free houses, of which there aren't many in our part of the world. Lots of them are members of either pub companies or belong to other breweries. In lots of cases you can access them if you join the trade body SIBA. They have a direct delivery scheme where you sign up, but you have to pay to do that. But it does give you access to sort of the enterprises and the punch taverns in the area. But we're such a small brewery, we'd rather focus on independent free houses, find people we enjoy working with. As it stands, we only supply 1 pub in each area that we've moved into. So the Jolly Crispin in Gornal is the only pub in the Dudley area we supply. The Weaver's Real Ale House in Kidderminster. We don't supply anybody else in Kidderminster. We used to supply the salmon up in Leicester. Steve, who ran that, he used to come down and get a beer from us, and we then like taking beer up to him. That's been an ongoing relationship we developed. The Wheat Sheaf in Warsaw, it's run by a guy called Tony Colpitts. When we first opened, he came along, expressed an interest. We gradually built up that relationship. So yeah, it's as much about finding people to work with that you get on with and can have a working relationship with.
The starting's okay, it's just the continuing.
Yeah, finding
process,
more venues to get your beer into, and I'm quite convinced that as a brewery you need your own outlets. It's a good business model. You make the product, you sell the product, as opposed to spending all your time finding somebody else to take that part of the profit margin.
Yeah. You are.
Yeah, it's very easy to give money away. In a month we produce about 90 firkins. So if you take into account sort of lulls in business and people going on holiday, about 900 firkins in a year. Quite a lot of it goes through the Jolly Crispin. They take about 6 kills of their house bitter each month, and then the rest of our production's spread over producing the 4 core beers, whatever the seasonal beer is for that quarter.
Beers.
Yeah, we've got the Gun Ale, which is a honey ale. We use just under 2 kilos of blossom honey per cask. It goes into the boil stage, so it's not particularly sweet beer, but it does have quite a lot of body and flavour to it. Yeah. The Frost Hammer is a pale ale, uses American hops, so there's sort of a grapefruit aroma to it. Firebeard's favourite, number 5. It's a ruby ale, 5%. It's quite traditional for the area that we're in. In times gone by, the area was known for its sort of strong, dark, ruby coloured beers. And then King Korvac's Saga, which is a beer that we've won the most awards for. It's won Wolverhampton Beer Festival twice, Stafford Beer Festival twice. Yeah, in terms of awards, the King Korvac Saga and the Korvac's Triumph, which is the honey porter we do, That's picked up a couple of beer festival awards.
Yeah.
But we're not members of SEBA, so we don't take part in any of their competitions. So it is mainly just camera competitions we've entered into and focused on. I'm a big fan of sort of milds. Sort of nice, nothing too weak. Sort of a lot of body, nice biscuity flavours.
Yeah.
That sort of will be my go-to drink, but as with most beer, it's quite easy to become disappointed. You're sort of, it's a mild. No, it's not that interesting in the slightest. And sort of porters as well. Again, nothing too weak in body. I like something that's you've got the mouthfeel to it. You know it's there.
You know you're drinking it.
Having judged quite a few camera competitions, festivals, and judged quite a lot of porter categories. Quite often you'll have 6 beers that are all supposed to be porters, and at least 4 of them would easily fall into a mild category. Yeah. They're brewers are quite loose in their descriptions of what their beers are. There's no hard and fast rules. Everything's vague.
It's how they think
yeah.
It tastes, yeah.
Yeah, so we do a stout, and it's 6.2% because it's a stout beer. It's sort of stout in body, everything else. Whereas I'm not sure you can have a 4% stout. It's sort of, I think that would drop you into a porter category. Yeah. So yeah, it's all very subjective. It's personal opinion. Origin, the Pilsner style real ale that we do. Yeah, it's very consistent. It's sort of light enough in colour. There's enough sort of malt flavour going on to not be too obtrusive, and the hops really come through sort of in terms of the flavour and the aroma. It's yeah, easy drinking. It's
we enjoyed it. Yeah. It's a session beer.
Yeah. I think when we've come up with new beers, there's no sort of hard and fast rule. Quite often, Tom, who does our brewing, he'll go, I want to do another dark beer. We can't do another dark beer, Tom. We've already got sort of 6 of them. There's only so much dark beer I can sell. One thing we did notice actually, if you go into a pub, if there are 4 hand pulls, you're lucky if one's a dark beer.
Yeah, that's right.
So, while it's nice brewing them and there's sort of interesting flavours and characteristics to them, more often than not, if it's a new beer, it's either very pale to ambery in colour. I don't think we have any copper coloured beers because while the malt profile is quite interesting, selling it to a landlord is a very difficult endeavour. Lots of them have got, my customers don't drink brown beer. And it's okay, what do they do? Pale beer?
The most common colour, yeah.
Yeah. Right. When you say pale, you're talking about lager colour. Yeah, lager colour beers. So yeah, that's normally the starting point, and then depending how it goes, you sort of tweak it and turn to something else. But normally for if we were going to do a new seasonal beer, something that's going to be permanent, then that tends to be a darker beer, or something a bit more uncommon in the sort of local market, sort of a wheat beer or something that's interesting for us to brew, and something that then you can see if there are any takers for. We did a smoked beer that had more positive feedback than we were expecting. Not that there was anything wrong with it as a beer, but it's a smoked beer. It's not what people are used to drinking, but the balance was just right, that people quite liked it.
Yeah, it was. I enjoyed it, I know that.
When I can get it, Hobson's mild.
Oh, yeah.
I like Hobson's mild. Not many of the pubs around here stock it. In fact, even if I go into a Holden's pub and they've got their mild on, I'll try that, because again, when it's in good form, it's very good. In a year's time, I'd like us to have at least one permanent outlet that's taking beer a couple of times a month in each of the local towns, into a 30-mile radius from where we are. One of the things, to grow a brewery, you need lots of outlets, but the trouble is you lose some control. So we've always avoided using wholesalers, just because you give them the beer and you've no idea what's happened to it. So I think we'd always like to retain that level of control. So that means driving further to build new relationships with customers, and yeah, I think we'd like to maintain as much control as possible. And then if that means sort of opening our own pubs, that's probably the way we'll go. I would say if you're an aspiring home brewer, home brewing is probably a lot more fun than people who go, oh, I want to open a brewery. It's, when we first started, somebody told us a joke. He said, how do you make a small fortune in brewing? Start with a big one. It's a really good way to lose your money. Whereas if you're interested in brewing beer and brewing beer at home, you can make a small batch, you can make anything you want, you're not constrained by what the customer wants or market demands. If it goes wrong, it doesn't cost you too much in time or ingredients. If it goes well, you can make more of it. And it's supposed to be fun. I think making beer should be fun. I think when it stops being fun, it's not really. It's fun to make, it's fun to drink. When it stops being fun, you should probably move on to spirits.
Yeah.
In terms of social media, we've got a Facebook page that's regularly updated. Twitter we use when we remember. It's easier said than done. The Instagram, occasionally we put things up on, but again, with Instagram it's more about quality images. So when we've got a photographer to hand and we can get some good quality pictures, we'll do more with that. We have a website where all the stories for our beers are. You can not download them, but you can read them for free, or they're all on there, along with the artwork that goes with the beers as well. Yeah, beer is not cheap to make. It's a premium product. As soon as you start brewing it to an accountant's sort of specification, it loses lots of sort of its wonderful properties. And people go into pubs and they complain about the price of the beer, but the beer duty on it's high. You've got the VAT on top. The ingredients are sort of grown by hand. It's a very hands-on process. Everything is sort of, it's expensive, and then the final product, there's only so much people are prepared to pay for it. But if you're going to drink it somewhere where they keep it in good condition, and if you have to pay a bit more for that, then do, because nobody's sort of ripping you off, nobody's sort of taking too much of the pie, as it were. The real ale, it's a good quality product, lots of care goes into it, and if people aren't prepared to pay a premium for it, there are lesser quality products that you can drink. Yeah.
Well, yeah, James, thank you for your time. I appreciate this. It's been a great experience this morning. Trying one of your ales, which was absolutely lovely, as your origin. Yeah, and good luck for the future as well.
Thank you very much. You're welcome to come back anytime.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you.
Cheers.
We start with the first beer we were greeted with on entering the brewery, which is always a nice start. Origin Dwarven Pilsner. The appearance of this Pilsner was a hazy golden colour, topped with a thin head. The nose had aromas of lemon with a light malt hop, which we all picked up on. However, this was faint. There was a citrusy zest to the taste, one of those flavours on par with the aroma. The body was light with a smooth creamy texture that had a soft carbonation which suited the style. The finish was clean with a vague bitter bite about it, which didn't last unfortunately. We marked this beer 20 out of 25. However, we found the beer to be a lot better than the sum of its parts, so reviewing each alone does this beer a disservice. We found it to be refreshing and easy to drink, all agreeing that this would make a decent session ale. Onto a beer that was developed to meet the taste of the patrons of the Jolly Crispin, who also suggested that the name should fit in with the local dialect of the Black Country. And so was born Crispin's Honour. This bitter pours a clear amber gold that had a small thin white head that lasted throughout. We picked up aromas of citrus and fruits with a subtle backdrop of hops, but these were faint on the nose. The taste had the crew in discussion for quite a while. Tone and myself identified a light to medium sweet fruity flavour which matched the aroma. However, the swig was adamant he could taste ready salted crisps, even after cleansing his palate. We all agreed that there was good lacing down the glass with low carbonation bubbles, which worked for me. The aftertaste was one of light floral tones, however this finished too early, disappearing as quickly as we detected it. We awarded this one 18.5 out of 25. Given the above criticisms, the drinkability of this beer is pretty high, but you'll need to head to the Jolly Crispin to try it yourself. This mild ale picked up the award of Beer of the Festival at the Bridgnorth Beer Festival 2013. and you can understand why when you set eyes on Firebeard's old favourite number 5. The appearance of this brew is a deep chestnut red with a full light brown head that had a great level of retention, very slowly fading to leave a decent level of lace on the side of the glass. Aromas of dark fruits, malty tones and maybe marzipan were detected, with just a suggestion of smokiness, although the amount of aroma with the dark fruit aspect grows as the beer warms during the drink. The taste follows the nose of dark fruit, sweet cherry with caramel with hints of chocolate but without the sweetness associated with these. It has a full depth flavour but also has a high drinkability with how easy and simple these flavours are. With a good finish, this is a tasty and almost warming beer, which was a pleasant surprise and incredibly satisfying. We awarded this one 22 out of 25 and can say for sure that we can definitely see Firebeard becoming an old favourite of ours. On to the fourth beer we tried, called Frosthammer. This poured a very clear, almost crystal gold bronze with a thin white head that stayed for the duration. There is a bit of hop in the nose along with a clean citrusy aroma. The initial taste gave us waves of grapefruit that stayed on the palate for a length of time. This was accompanied by light hops and sweet malts, followed by a finish that was almost dry, still with the flavour of grapefruit. We found this to be a very tasty beer that went down easy. It had a light body with perfect carbonation. It will be difficult not to like this brew. We gave it 20 out of 25. Overall, a pretty middle of the road beer, but good for the style. We agreed that this would be one we would pick up on if it was available to us. By pumpkin ale standards, this is one of the better ones we've tried. Introducing Goat Rider. The colour was a clear reddish amber as it poured, topped off with a bubbly white head. The aroma fills your head with warm roasted notes, along with plenty of pumpkin. The taste of this beer divided the crew. Tony and the Sweet picked up spiced pumpkin, which they said dominated the flavours, something I didn't find, picking up only a slight herby tang that appeared somewhat watery. However, I'm not a fan of pumpkin. We all picked up on the malty undertones, and the finish was sweet and spicy. We awarded this seasonal beer 17 out of 25. It wasn't a bad beer, but you do need to be a fan of pumpkin to enjoy this. Something I wasn't, but the crew did enjoy it. The final beer on our list is part of a storyline that incorporates all of the Found's beers. This one is titled King Korvac Saga. Pouring a dark mahogany colour topped with a small thin beige head, the appearance was pleasing to the eye. On the nose, the aromas of dark fruits, chocolate and a hint of licorice are prevalent, with a backdrop of light roast. Taste-wise, we detected a faint sweetness that appeared to come from dark fruits as well as a spicy bitterness with the light roast ever present. The body had a generous amount of weight and heft for a porter, which combined with what we thought was the right amount of carbonation gave it a smooth and satisfying mouthfeel. The combination of roasted malts and bitter sweetness gave it a complex, dry, earthy, smoky finish that lingered on the palate. The TopBeer crew enjoyed this one and gave it 22.5 out of 25. A well balanced and easily drinkable brew we certainly recommend you try.
Our star for this episode played for Worcester City Football Club in the Conference North Division. His most notable achievements have been scoring both goals in the shock 2-1 FA Cup win over Coventry City at the Ricoh Arena, and scoring a wonder goal called a Rabona against Barrow in the FA Trophy. Our star in a Reasonably Priced Bar is Sean Geddes.
Hi, my name's Sean Geddes. I currently play for Worcester City and we're in the Ridge Acre pub in Great Ridge. And it's my first time trying a Hobgoblin, and it's quite tasty, smooth, not gassy. Cheers.
Some say that the Eskimos have over 80 words for his name, and produced enough belly button fluff in 1 week to fill 10 large pillows. All we know is the Swig's a musical genius. You've caught me just thumbing through the latest edition of Kerrang magazine, where they have a special pull-out guide to their top 50 drummers. Great saucepan banging rockers like Led Zepp's John Bonham, The Who's Keith the Loon Moon, the multi-talented Dave Grohl and Nirvana and the Foos. Wait, what is this? Our very own Swig? In at number 3? Well, we had to track him down and gatecrash one of his gigs.
Welcome to the Birmingham Beer and Cider Festival here at the new Bingley Hall. Over the next 4 days, people will be travelling far and wide in the pursuit of real ale. TopBeer crew are here for the duration, sampling and reviewing many of the beers that are on offer. Will we find a new favourite? Only time will tell. Anyhow, my taste buds are tingling with anticipation, so let's get started. Follow me. The TopBeer crew were kindly invited along to be guests of the Fixed Wheel Brewery on the first evening of the 2015 Birmingham Beer and Cider Festival, open to trade, press and camera members. This was the prelude before the main 3-day event, of which we already procured a season ticket pass for and were quietly excited about. Having outgrown the previous venue, Second City Suite in Digbeth, which had been the festival's home since 2010, the Birmingham Beer Fest was relocated to the new Bingley Hall in 2014. This was a fantastic decision by CAMRA. As you enter from reception, the festival expands out into a cavernous room that stretches far back, providing ample space for many tables and chairs for drinkers to sit and sample their beers, which could be purchased from the bars that were strategically placed around the venue. This continued into a second huge room, formerly the Hockley Bus Garage, which was home to another bar, food stalls, the main stage and 2 beer buses, with, once again, many tables and chairs present. There were over 400 beers and ciders available for the punters to enjoy from nearly 200 breweries. Local breweries were well supported at the events, with several having their own stall and even one of the buses. Others were distributed on one of the other 6 long bars around the venue, named after local celebrities who consisted of Jeff Lynne, Ozzy Osbourne, Frank Skinner, Jasper Carrot, Tony Hancock and a cider bar named after J.R.R. Tolkien. These bars were manned and womaned by camera members and volunteers. As busy as they were, we found that many of the staff on hand made time for us, especially on the opening days when they first encountered the suite. We managed to grab a few words with the staff of some of the breweries represented whilst we were there, to get their view on how the festival was going.
Promoting all our new beers that we've got. We've resurrected some old recipes and promoting the stuff that we do anyway now. So we're back out in the free trade, just pushing Davenport.
How have you found the festival so far? It's been busy?
It's been up and down, different days. Yesterday was really busy. I think today's just steady. I imagine we get busier after the baggies game though. It's 45. Yeah, no, it's been good and the response has been really positive to the old stuff that we've got.
Well, I know after Davenport's closed down, restarted again with new stuff as well, so anything in the pipeline for new stuff in the future?
Yeah, we're opening some new bars under the Dares brand, which is an old Davenport beer. So we've got a couple in Birmingham happening now, which we'll probably talk about here. So they'll be really good. So it will be craft beers, craft lagers, all of our stuff now going into the free trade as well. So we're back, bigger and better. Yeah.
That have gone the best have been Crack Hunt and Licorice and the Dog and Duck. That's gone completely now. So everything else we've gone through at least a 9 off. So we're quite happy. We're in a good place for the rest of the day.
Any plans for the new beers in the future?
New beers in the future. We'll keep that under wraps a little bit. Suffice to say there will be a new set of monthlies next year. And that's looking at... No, I'm not going to say any more. I'll keep it at that. I'll keep it at that.
Anything going on down the Green Lock yourself?
Yes, we've got a Christmas festival coming up, so that's going to be Boxing Day and the following 2 days, so 26th to the 28th. Love to see you all there.
Thank you, I will be
Cheers.
there, definitely be there.
It's gone really well. We were the first beer to sell out, the Cyclone, and then the Emerta went next, and it's gone down really, really well.
Very popular, that's right.
Yeah.
Any brews in the pipeline, any new ones?
The Christmas brew is just starting. We're just looking at doing that, but it's not been released what it's actually going to be called yet.
That's right. Oh, everyone's mysterious at the moment.
Yeah.
Any plans for the company itself?
Yeah, we've just signed our hop contracts for the year, so we've got our year plan now of what we're brewing for the next 12 months. So some exciting stuff coming.
Some new stuff then?
Yeah.
Looking forward to that then.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Festival's gone really well, thanks very much. Yeah, it's really good, really pleased. Hopefully this afternoon, this evening, we'll be really busy around Halloween.
Yeah, we'll be here, yeah.
So it'll be really good, yeah.
Any beer sold out, or what's your biggest seller?
Our biggest seller will be the Big Job. We've done 2 9s about, and we're on halfway through our final 9 of the Big Job. So yeah, it's a beer festival beer.
Yeah, it is.
It works really well for us.
I like it, yeah. Any future plans for the brewery, or any new beers coming out?
At the brewery, we've just installed a 10-barrel small batch brewery. So our brewery is designed to brew lots of beer. Yeah. So our minimum brew length is about 80 barrels.
which is difficult for when we're doing innovation and stuff like that. So we've just installed a small batch brewery, so enable us to do lots of smaller brews, lots of small experimental beers. So we're looking forward to that. We're starting the new year with that.
While Local Brew proved to be a favourite amongst the ale-loving crowd, they also had the option of something a little different from the bottled beer bar run by Sturchley Wines, who offered an array of foreign beers. We caught up with them on the final day of the festival.
So, I'm Christian, I own Sturchley Wines and Spirits. We started as a business in 1979. We started thinking about beer in a more progressive way, let's say, in the late 80s. We started with Budweiser Budvar, Belgian beer, Trappist beers, and we've just grown since then. We've been doing this for about 25 years in terms of being a beer shop or a beer outlet. We're not really a beer outlet, we're more of a convenience soft license. But one of our specialities is beer. Now, with Birmingham Beer Festival, we've done this for about 5 years. This is our 5th year. We started in 2011. We started with 60 beer range, and now we've got 90 beers.
All around the world? Or
from all over the world. Our criteria is all over the world. Unfortunately, not the UK. Some well-known names, some a little bit more obscure, some things that maybe people haven't heard of at all. So a bit of something for everybody. The camera crowd are, they can be quite new to it. So we try and cater for a lot of the different levels of experience, let's say. Some people just want something fizzy, and it's as basic as that. Or some people just want a bit of something stronger, a bit more Belgianic. So we look at that as well.
For those early bird folk like the TopBeer crew here from the start, drinking ales, as nice as they were, a food break was advisable at some time. Enter the second cabin, literally. There were a variety of different food outlets available that should have appealed to most, if not everyone, feeling a little bit peckish during the event. We spoke to many happy punters who had taken a break from sampling duties to further entice their taste buds with the delights on offer. From 20-inch sausages, freshly baked Cornish pasties, authentic Caribbean food, hot and cold baps, Scotch eggs, pork pies, a range of vegetarian options, and a favourite of mine, the lamb and chicken curry, there was a considerable choice to be had for the festival. A very nice touch was the introduction of the trolley dollies Elaine and Jane, supplied by Pickles of Harborne, who worked the floor tirelessly throughout the 3 days. Other stores in and around the place were Piper's Crisps, which was one of the first calling points for crew member Tony, who appeared to buy bags of the stuff. Merry Berry Truffles provided a choice of unique flavoursome chocolates and truffles. Both stalls offered samples for customers to try. There was a clothing store called Smarties, the home of the Oliver Reed drinking shirts which the Swig found himself drawn to and buying from. Incidentally, the Swiggers had the pleasure of sharing a pint with the late great Mr. Reed. The captain, who managed only 1 day with us, found the beer memorabilia stand, purchasing several rare and aged items. Troop Aid were in attendance, manning the cloakrooms as well as promoting the charity that supported our injured troops. All monies raised from the cloakroom was donated to Troop Aid. Entertainment was provided at the events, which saw artists playing various styles taken to the main stage throughout the 3 days, which was brilliant to watch. To get an event like this organised, you need a team of dedicated people. You would have seen these hard-working folks stood around the venue wearing red. Naturally, as Star Trek fans, we believe these people to be nothing more than cannon fodder, there to accompany the main characters for the landing party. However, nothing could be further from the truth. Without these guys, we wouldn't have a festival. And then there's the advertising. We caught up with Dave Glenwright, media manager for the event.
So my name's Dave Glenwright, I'm the head of media for Birmingham Beer and Cider Festival 2015.
What do you actually do here?
So I've been looking after all the social media, the marketing for the festival, looking after our sponsors. We have loads of great sponsors here at the festival, and just generally going around making sure that everyone's really having a really enjoyable time and enjoying the festival.
What's been your best bit then so far?
For me, it has been being able to talk to our visitors, people who perhaps haven't really had real ale before, people who have come and going, well, I don't do ale, I'm just here for the cider, and being able to give them a speciality beer and going, here, try this, and just the way their face lights up and go, wow, this is amazing. Real ale is such a diverse world, and it's amazing to introduce new people to it. We've had a great year this year. It's our 2nd year here at this venue, and I think people are starting to enjoy it. It's a much nicer venue than we had last year in terms of space and layout. We've got a lot of people come here from far and wide just because they can sit down, which is a rare thing for some beer festivals.
Yeah, met some Barnes as well.
Absolutely. This year we had the addition of 2 brewery bar buses, which is fantastic because the building used to be a bus depot. So there's been more buses here than there have been in years. So you never know, maybe a few more buses, who knows? Yeah, so I'm a part of CAMRA. I'm the local young members rep, and I work in the region as a young members coordinator. It's a growing movement. It's a difficult thing. You know, CAMRA has this stereotype of being old blokes with old big beards, twigs sticking out of them, and all that. And CAMRA's not that. No, not at all, not at all. But 10% of CAMRA's membership are young members. And I think that's a really important thing that we're really keen to shout about. You know, real ale isn't just an old person's drink. You know, everybody enjoys it. We've got some really fantastic beers here this year. We're really lucky in that our beer ordering team has some really unique taste, and they're really keen to bring all sorts of great things here. So, I mean, you guys have probably tried some dark beers here. We've got lots of interesting dark beers. There's a dandelion and burdock one. There was a white stout here as well. I didn't get a chance to try it. How was it?
It was weird because it wasn't a stout.
Yeah.
It was something a bit different, but it was different. But I liked it. I can't remember racing now, but I liked it. It's sort of difference.
Yeah, it's that variety that we're really keen to have here at a festival of this size. You know, it wouldn't be any good if it was just 300 hoppy IPAs.
So do you have a bit of a say in what they bring? The brew bring then, or do you? They say we want to bring this, and you say we'll have this, and this. I mean, how does that work?
Well, we have two guys who are the beer orderers. They get inundated once they're appointed. Everybody cozies up to them and goes, "Hey, let me buy you a half. Did I mention that my favourite brewery is so and so?" And so they walk away with this long old list of everybody's favourite breweries. And they go to and they try and order the interesting beers off there, the specialities. I think that's what we're really keen to have is everybody's had, or a lot of people have had, the standard, the core beers. What they're looking for is something unusual. So for example, we've got St Austell Brewery here, one of our brewery bars. They've brought with them their Halloween special, their Bucket of Blood, which is a fantastic beer. And the great thing is, not much of it gets this far north. A lot of it stays in the Cornwall area, so we're very lucky to have that. We have Tilly's Porter here, which is made at the brew house at the Salutation Inn. Yeah, the Salutation Inn is this year's Pub of the Year, National Pub of the Year from CAMRA. They've started brewing their own stuff, and the cask of porter that we've got here is the first cask of their beer to be sold outside of their pub. So we're really excited to have these interesting, unique flavours. And the feedback so far has been, it's saying exactly that. Lovely selection, not just the same old stuff.
So it's nice to see the introduction of new breweries such as Fixed Wheel.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, we're really keen to support the local breweries. So we've got about 280 odd breweries are represented here. 108 of them are local. So that means that they brew within 30 miles of the festival. That's a huge number of local breweries. We're really keen to support them. So we've got, as brewery bars, we've got Fixed Wheel, we've got Angel, we've got Green Duck, and we've got Davenport's, we've got Sadler's. They're all local brewers, and we've been delighted to have them here and to have the opportunity to talk to the brewers themselves. I think a lot of the local landlords really appreciate that as well. So Wednesday night is our trade night, which is when all the local landlords come here, and they use it as an opportunity to go shopping, really. Which is exactly what we want the trade night to be like. So they were coming around and they were chatting to the local brewers. And having had a chat with them, the brewers, over the course of the weekend, they've gone, yeah, I've had some really positive discussions. Looking forward to following up and talking to these local landlords more. So it's what CAMRA's about. At the end of the day, this festival is organised by CAMRA. We're here to campaign not only for real ale and cider, but also for pubs and brewers and for the industry. And if a beer festival like this can support and facilitate new business relations and help these pubs and these breweries to flourish, then it's a fantastic success for us. And, the thing to remember is that most craft beers in the UK are real ales, and most real ales are craft beers. I think it's fantastic that there's this perk and interest. And the important thing is to build on that momentum and to protect the pubs. I think that's the key issue, especially for CAMRA at the moment, is pub preservation. There are too many pubs that are closing on a weekly basis.
We've looked at that.
They're pillars of the community, which is why CAMRA is working hard with its campaign on giving pubs assets of community value status, protecting these pillars of the community and ensuring that there are places around the country for people to enjoy these fantastic beers.
We went to essentially long ago for a festival there, and we tried from the local pubs there, and the water was empty. And we said, any real ales? I went, no. Well, went to the fest itself, and it was heaving full of people.
Yeah.
Who want to try real ales? Well, these pubs are not clocking on. You're empty because you're not serving different beers.
I think there's a fear in some ways, especially with real ale, because real ale requires a degree of care and attention. You need to look after it. It's not just a keg where you just plug it in and play. You've got to care about it, you've got to look after it. But there are volunteers within Camera that are willing to go to pubs. If you are a landlord that's thinking about doing real ale but you don't know what to do with it, contact your local Camera branch. Ask someone, we're looking to put real ale on. Can you send someone down to show us the ropes, show us how to do it? I guarantee you that every Camera branch is going to be more than happy, because it means one more pub in their area putting on real ale and serving it in a decent quality.
Yeah, I didn't know. Well, that's a really good thing to know, that is, yeah. Everyone share that around.
But based on the size of this place, would you be looking at making it a bigger festival with more ales in the future?
I don't know. It's early days at the moment. I mean, like I say, this is our second year at the new Bingley Hall. So we've got around about the 300 beer mark, just under. At our previous venue, the Second City Suite, we had about 240 beers. So we've already had a big jump up when we moved to this venue. I think it's a case of, let's settle in here. We've got space to expand here. That's one of the reasons why we selected this venue, is that we have got space to expand. Let's see what the appetite is. As long as there's that hunger, we're checking the dip sheets, we're finding out how much people were drinking. They seem to be enjoying all of the beers, which is good. We'll see what they want. We would much rather serve 300 good beers, or 300 great beers, than serve 500 all right beers. We are volunteers at the end of the day. Everybody working here are volunteers. A lot of us have given up a week's holiday to be here.
And they're great stuff as well. There's a load of good people who we spoke to.
Yeah, and they know their stuff, but we don't want to overstretch them.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Cheers, Dave.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Absolute pleasure. Pleasure.
Now on to the reason we were here, to taste and seek out new beer. There was a token system in place to purchase your drinks, which could be bought in thirds, halves or pints. If at any time you were unsure which ale to have, the kindly staff would offer you a sample before buying. Prices averaged around £3.20 a pint down to £1 for a third. Due to the number of volunteers behind the bar, we never had to wait for a drink during the 4 days we were there, and bloody marvellous this was. It was great to talk to many of the brewers there about the beers on offer. One such conversation we had was with beer sommelier and consultant of Sadler's Ales, Roberto Ross. This guy blew us away in a 15-minute discussion about hops. Having tried all ales available from the main bars, the TopBeer crew didn't come across any beers we didn't like, which to my knowledge is a first for any festival we've been to. We did sample more than our fair share of beers that we will be definitely buying a pint or two again in the future. These beers covered over 18 different styles, from light and hoppy pale ales through to rich and malty stouts, and scored highly on appearance, smell, taste, aftertaste and drinkability. On the last day of the festival, beer started to sell out quickly, which was a testimony of its success, but you only need to move around the venue to realise that there was so much more beer left to try. One thing we witnessed on several occasions was groups all drinking the same beer, then reordering that same beer again and again. We found this curious behaviour at a festival, but each to their own. All 4 days were well attended by both male and female, old and young, experienced and novice, who all contributed towards the friendly, buzzing atmosphere we have come to expect from such events. Fair play to Camera. They had laid the foundation for visitors to ensure they would experience a well-run, friendly and successful festival that would be one to remember and have them coming back next year. One thing's for sure, TopBeer will be there. For many years now, the British pub trade has been in a slow downward spiral. With reports stating that 29 pubs a week are closing, it's a wonder we still have a place to drink. Fair enough, new bars are opening weekly as well, but the most lack the character the old watering holes used to have. I look back on the local pubs and taverns I used to frequent with friends and family, sharing many a pint with them and other patrons and making new friends in the process. The walls of these places are washed with memories and stories of days gone by, and more times than often you would end up chatting with the old boy at the end of the bar who had been drinking here since we were a lad, who had many more stories to tell. Most of these establishments have now vanished from our streets, replaced by houses, shops and petrol stations. In this segment of A Brief History Through Time, we look back at some of the local pubs and inns in South Birmingham that are now but a memory to us.
Well, sadly, we've reached the end of our show, but we certainly hope you've enjoyed watching it.
Join us next time when we'll be reviewing the Christmas parties that we've been invited to and having a look at some of the pubs in Briar Hill in Dudley.
And also find out what the Swigs are up to.
See you later.
Bye bye.